This is All the Things with Michelle Wolf.
Welcome and thanks for joining today's episode of All the Things. This is Michelle Wolf, and I am joined today with one of my favorite mentors and teachers, Rickie Freedman, in our area, also known as Reiki by Rickie. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, hi everyone. Michelle, thank you. Very heart-centered connection all these years, and I'm thrilled to be able to be part of this with you. So, yes, I'm Rickie Meryl Freedman. Do you want me to share a little bit of my story or just say
Yes,
at this
please.
point? So, I moved to this area in 2008, very intuitively guided to be here. I had learned Reiki in Lewisburg, which is a small rural conservative college town about an hour and 15 minutes from Harrisburg. Started my own Reiki practice there and was still blending both worlds. I'm a physical therapist by background, so I was doing PT as well as Reiki. So a little before 2008, which of course was an interesting year in our economy, right? I was clearly intuitively guided that I was meant to move to Harrisburg for the next step in my work. Um, and that was a real stretch for Rickie Meryl Freedman as a human being with her left logical thinking brain, because I was born and raised in Philadelphia, a big city, and I loved small town living. And I had birthed my Reiki practice in Lewisburg, which was brand new to that area, and was very connected with all my clients and students. And I could not, with my little left logical thinking brain, figure out why I should make a move. But when something is meant for you on your path, you're guided along or pushed along if necessary every step of the way. So I finally aligned my thinking by realizing that I didn't have to give up anything to make this move. It's only an
Mm.
hour and 15 minutes away. I connected with a local massage therapist and figured out that she had a room that I could share Reiki in from Thursdays to Mondays if I chose. And so I could still see all my Reiki clients. So once I let go of my internal little girl kicking and screaming, fighting to move
The dilemma.
and
Yep.
aligned with total faith, right? The world parted literally. And even though there was all these houses on the market because of the economy and the housing crisis at that point, my house was the only one in the neighborhood that sold. I mean, this happened almost instantaneously once I aligned my thinking, right?
When it happens like that, isn't it? It's like
Oh my
it
gosh, it's
just
amazing. Yeah.
opens up for you.
Right, and it also goes to show how, we need to let go of fear to be able to step forward in this way.
Hmm.
And so my house sold. I found a place to live here in Harrisburg, and I initially went into someone else's practice when I moved here in 2008. And the instant that I moved here, I got another one of those lightning bolt intuitions that said, it's time to let go of the security blanket, which was my physical therapy work. I was getting offers left and right. So I listened, I trusted my guidance. I never answered one of those calls, even though I moved to this area knowing one person and no one here talked about Reiki. There were no Reiki practices. So there were a few massage therapists that had taken a Reiki class, but nobody promoted it or talked about it.
It seems crazy to me almost because now, in
It's a world of
2024,
difference.
this area in particular seems like a highly spiritual alternative medicine. Like there's so much holistic practice here.
And
So,
I have no doubt that that was why I was guided to be here. I
mhm.
didn't know it in the moment, right? But in retrospect, looking at the area now and how all this work has blossomed, and quite honestly, probably 90% of the people out there offering and sharing Reiki have been my students at
I
one
know,
point
it's
along the line, which
amazing.
totally blows me away amazing. You know, at one point, and I'm kind of just flow speaking here,
Yeah.
I had a numerology reading years ago with Alison Bachman, who is also very intuitive, and she used the word legacy, which just scared the pants off of me
Mm.
at that moment. And it was just too big for me to even take in. And she said, "It's not now, don't worry." But, I can kind of see the impact that Reiki has brought to this community and how that continues to spread and blossom and grow. And, um, it's
I
amazing.
think that's such a testament to, like, I mean, honestly, just speaking from, I'm very picky about my teachers.
Well, you should be.
And you have been somebody that, for me, like, it is a testament to who you are. When we talk about living Reiki, it's who you are. And
Mhm.
it's who I am too. And it's why I've always been drawn to you, but like also, when I step into your space, I feel like I'm entering a different world.
Yeah.
And it's just like this immediate sense of warmth and love and groundedness. And for someone who is so sensitive and operates in the world like I do, we need for
Yeah.
real, we need places like that we can go and feel safe to just,
Be
like all
yourself.
the energy that I transmute all the time, like it's a lot. So when you have that, it's really important. So I'm so grateful for
Right. It
you.
it shows you the possibility of how the world could be
Hmm.
if it is based on choices of love, right?
Yes.
It's the essence of what people feel in, even just entering the space when they're new to this world of
Hmm.
energy and healing, right? They feel it and they're attracted to it. And, they're attracted to each other, right? Because
Hmm.
it's all about connection and, nobody wants to leave. It's so awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
like when what was that, the book release that we
the book
did?
release party, right?
It was like a
11.
reunion, Like there were so many people that came that like you have touched in these different ways, but then like I haven't seen some of those people, in a while. And it was just like a coming home of these souls, of these energetics, in this space. And then when we do that, it's like amplified. Like I
Exactly.
felt that.
That's the way energy works. It's
Mhm.
exponential. And we feel good because we're being together, right? That higher frequency energy is exponential. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's way more powerful than that. And
Yeah.
so it's not only affecting each of us personally as well as each other, it is spreading, far and wide beyond those walls.
Yes,
And,
that's the ripple
that's
effect.
our way of being a healing presence in the world, right?
Mm.
Creating what I call the vibration of possibility, which, we can't decide what happens, right? When we share this energy, that's not our job in this. But as we raise the vibration of possibility and people or situations, are ready to see the light and to start and shift and change and transform, it makes it easier for that to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why this work is, so profound personally for each of us, but it's way bigger than that.
It
Yeah.
is, and this is I talk a lot about the ripple effect, and I often think about, because we are energetic beings, we have an electromagnetic field, and
Mhm.
that's the vibration, whatever's going on inside of us and around us is what we are putting out,
And our
and
thoughts and our
mhm,
emotions, not just even what we speak,
mhm,
what we're thinking,
all
right?
of it.
All
Yeah.
of it affects it affects the hormones our brains secrete. It affects our immune system and our wellness even more, Dr. Bruce Lipton says, than our DNA.
Yes.
So we have power in this when we make that choice. Yeah.
So powerful. So I do want to talk about the book because that's number one, it's a project that I'm so happy to have been a part of.
Yes.
Um, and for me, it's my first publication with, as Michelle Wolf, as this person that I have become in my journey. Um, but talk a little bit about how that came about for you.
Well, this is my second project, as you know. Leading up to COVID shutdown, I had been working on a Reiki Kids manual
Mm,
because I teach Reiki to kids 5 years old and up, that was inspired by my son who passed when he was 20. And and I still believe that he is with me through all of this. I also have an amazing book doula. She helps people birth their books, and since this is not my area of specialty, as far as what do you do next, and how do you get it published, she guided me every step of the way. But there's lots of books on Amazon about what Reiki is, what are the benefits, how it works, all of the, kind of logistics of
yeah.
Reiki, if there is such a thing, right? And they're all awesome and they all have a purpose. But I went through pages of pages of looking through those books on Amazon. And this book is unique because this book is stories by clients, students, practitioners, and teachers. Not even all that I was connected by. This is throughout the nation and Canada even, which is very, very cool. And they are sharing their personal stories of how Reiki has transformed and sometimes even saved their lives.
Yeah.
So I collected all of your stories, including yours, Michelle, which is so awesome. And then we put them into chapters based on first experiences, Reiki and grief, Reiki and life purpose, Reiki and fertility.
Because it affects so many things. I mean, I think it
Oh, yes,
affects,
it's
it
everything.
permeates all
Yeah.
aspects of our lives.
Yeah, there's basically 17 chapters that we were able to, group the stories into. And all the stories are relatively short stories, so they're very easy to read. You can open up to a topic if you want to, if something's touching your heart. And then in the beginning of each of those 17 chapters, I shared some of my stories as well as some of my teachings and philosophies about Reiki. So it's a very unique book, I believe. And
I was saying, like when I had gifted one to my mom because I was proud and, I want her to have, a copy. And she was just telling me there, she's like, I want you to know I read that book. And I thought she was saying she read my chapter, but she read the whole thing. And her feedback as somebody who is not, she's open and understanding of, she's accepting, I'll say, of my sort of, I'll call it alternative lifestyle. Um, and I've done Reiki for her, but not like with any sort of regularity. And she lives in Florida, so it's not like I see her very often. But she was like, I really liked it. I
mm,
think it, opened up something, even just understanding it from all these different perspectives.
yes.
It was just she said it was really well done.
Yes, and these are not professional authors. These are,
We're just
everyday
everyday
people in
people.
the world sharing it in their words. Of course, now you are professional, right? So, the same thing happened with my son, or a similar thing. He said, I bought the book and he didn't even wait for me to give him one. I had one for him, but he wanted it right away. He said, because you're my mom, and I thought it was cool that
I love
you wrote
that.
a book, right? And he started because of of our loss of his
Mhm.
brother, with the chapters on Reiki and grief, which was really a little challenging, but so impactful for him that he also read the book. And he wrote me a little review on Amazon and said that every story is like receiving a mini Reiki session.
I love that.
And I love that so much because I didn't, say anything to him about this, but that is the intention with the book, that just by holding this, you are receiving this Reiki because
Mhm.
it is shared with such heart-centered love and passion from all our hearts. And people are feeling that. And
Well, and
it's
it makes sense.
meaningful.
It
Yeah.
does. It makes sense because, like, the love and energy with which I know, like, speak for myself, but I'm sure that everyone put into writing their chapter, that's our energy that we've put into that. And it's nice to know that he can feel that coming
Yes.
from each of us.
Yes. It's
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah. So, my intention is that this book gets well beyond our local area, and, out into the world. And so,
Yeah.
that's why one of the reasons why I'm thrilled to be sharing with you in this way, because, it expands our audience, right?
Hmm.
And so this book is available, of course, in Reiki Space and Learning Place, and some other local places that have the opportunity to have products and books out. And it's also on Amazon.com. And it's on Amazon anywhere in the world, which is really, really cool. So
I
I
can't
guess,
wait for it to pick up. Yeah. I think
yes, it's
the
happening little by little.
it's
Um,
so unique in the way that it's presented. It's really not, I think once people realize that it's one of those books that you can just pick up, like you can just have sitting out and pick up and just open to a chapter and see what comes for you, you know?
Yes. And it's little. I mean, it's a smaller sized book, and we did that consciously and intentionally. I mean, it's got lots of pages because of all the chapters, but you can throw this in your purse and
Oh,
take it
it's
on the
easily
airplane, right?
yeah.
And just, open up, read a little bit, and so it's, if practical, I guess that would be the
Yeah.
word as
And the
well.
chapters are small, so you can really
Yes.
just pick it up and like just read one chapter and it's just a few
Yeah.
pages and it's like, you know, you're just
Yeah.
receiving that. So,
Yeah. So, yeah, so thank you for allowing me the opportunity, and yourself the opportunity, to
oh, thank
continue
you
to
for
promote
dreaming it
this.
up.
If anyone out there already has read the book, or if you desire one, you can certainly reach out. And the best thing that you can do if you want to support us is write a review on Amazon. Doesn't matter where you purchase the book from, but Amazon has certain logistical requirements, and we need to get up to at least 50 reviews for them to start, helping us be able
Mhm.
to get this out further. So um, that would be my plea.
Yeah.
If you love the book, right?
Yeah.
And so far we're all 5 stars, so that's
I
awesome.
mean, and it's real. Like I really it's been and just thank you for dreaming that up and being something that I have always loved and appreciated about you, which is a reflection for me too, because I love community so much.
Yeah,
And um everything that you do is for community.
right.
And I just appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I am so, so clear that all this is about the Reiki and not the Ricky. And I sometimes I have to correct other people about that. And I honor that people, find that electromagnetic connection and that resonance with me as a
A
human
guide.
being, and my,
Mhm.
integrity of living this work.
Mhm.
But I'm so, so clear about, how the work flows through me and not from me. And, my mission to get this, to help clear up any misunderstandings because they're still out there, to help educate people because there's lots of people that, still, either never heard of it or, know very little about it, and to let people feel it because that's how you really know it. And
Yeah.
certainly, people can feel it through hands-on sessions, which are awesome and deeply relaxing. They can also feel it through this screen. We can send Reiki, through all time and space. It's, in traditional medicine, they call that non-local healing, but
Mhm.
it's a sharing of energy, and people can feel that and be impacted by it just as much, really, as if they're right under our hands.
So
And
would you
love
say
that.
for somebody like who isn't really familiar with it, like what would be a good way really just to would you just encourage them to experience it?
Right. And, certainly that requires the ability to talk about it
Mhm.
initially, which is challenging for a lot of Reiki healers and practitioners out there, putting something like this into words.
Mhm.
And I do think that's one of the things that I bring to this work is coming from physical therapy world, traditional left
Yeah.
brain learning, science background, is being able to bring this to every audience in a way that is relatable and grounded,
Mhm.
right? In words, because that's what needs to come first. Now, the ideal is, and this is what I share with my students, is that when you do your own work in this every day, in other words, living this, and there's certain things that we need to do as Reiki healers. I call it Reiki aerobics now. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but
I
I'm
like
happy
that.
to talk about it. But when you do your own work every day, and you radiate this energy, what you really want is for people who even have no clue of this to say, I don't know what it is, but I want what she's got. I have a wonderful story if we have a moment.
Yeah, we have
First
time.
moved to this area before I was even, known and working on getting this word out. Found a Groupon for a facial locally. And so I'm very good at receiving and just opening up and allowing. I know that's a challenge for some people, but I was just laying there in her chair while she's doing her beautiful esthetician work. And my Reiki just starts flowing like crazy because when somebody needs it, they subconsciously just draw it right through you. And I didn't say one word. She knew nothing about me, right? So I go up to the counter at the end of my session to pay, and she says just like this to me. She says, honey, I don't know what it is that you do, but I need that in my life. Isn't that cool?
I love
And
that.
so she became a client and then a student and eventually a Reiki master teacher. And now she blends the Reiki consciously into her work. Isn't that
That is
beautiful?
so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually last year I had a someone gifted me a massage and so I went and it was just like this random place, not in this area. And the woman working on me, actually it wasn't a massage, it was a facial. And the
Okay.
woman working on me, and at this point, like I'm attuned, I know what it
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like. And I was like, "Do you have Reiki training?" Because I could feel it coming from her. And she's like, "Well," like, she didn't have a clear understanding, I could tell, like, she didn't know what she was doing, but she had
Mhm.
taken as part of her training, I guess they had incorporated, like,
A
maybe
little bit.
something about that. So, we started talking and, we were sharing and whatever, but it's when you can feel it, and I've had other massages or, other people who have worked on me, because this definitely when somebody's putting hands on you. I mean,
Yeah.
even last night,
Very intimate work. Yes.
my daughter last night was like, "Mom, do you want a massage?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was just kinda showing her some things, like, about the vagus nerve, and when she put her hands on me, like, it's so powerful. I can't wait to get her in your class because I think
Oh,
with
how
some
old is she
training
now?
she is 10 and a half.
Oh my gosh, I have a class coming up in a couple weeks. She would fit right in that age range.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a powerful healer.
awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait. And I share with my students, we already are all this
Yes.
by energy. It's just that in our Western culture, we don't talk about this. Reiki's from Japan, from the East, where they are for thousands of years before traditional Western medicine. Intuition. So when you learn Reiki, it puts a framework around what is already yours. and it allows you the opportunity, to recognize your energy, because if you don't pay attention to it, you
Yeah.
really don't know it, right? And it's as real as your physical body. It's connected to your physical body through your hormonal system, and it radiates from us. So everything hits your energy before it gets to your physical body. When we can keep our energy in balance, which is the essence of Reiki, it's preventative medicine.
Mhm.
So when people take a Reiki class, they are saying, in essence, I am willing to be more of my true self in the
Mm.
world, right? Letting go of all that is not really my true self, those old messages and those resistances and fears. And I am willing to let my inner light shine so that I can be a healing presence for others and the world, whether or not I choose to put my hands on anyone.
Mhm.
Reiki is much more than Reiki sessions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Reiki sessions is one tool in becoming Reiki, like you said, living Reiki, where
Mhm.
you move from sharing Reiki. I never use the word doing Reiki because we're not active in this process. We allow this process by doing our own work, right? Where you move from sharing Reiki to being and living Reiki, conscious of the energy of every thought, word, emotion, and attitude that we share with each other on Facebook world,
Mhm.
everywhere, right?
Even just
How
walking
this
around in nature because we can share
right,
Reiki with plants and animals.
right.
Yeah.
And we can connect
Mhm.
with nature, which provides us that beautiful nature's very healing,
Oh my
provides that
goodness.
beautiful grounding balance to all this opening. And people like you, Michelle, and lots of people who are very sensitive, whether they've labeled that or not, people who have the tendency without being conscious to take on other people's stuff, to tune, to know what
Mhm.
they're feeling, right? That type of thing. People who are sensitive are very, very attracted to this work because it becomes what I call, this is the Ricky term, an EMS, an energy management system.
Mhm.
So it allows you to stay very heart centered and connected, because that's what this work is about, and never give away your personal
Yes.
energy, never become
Yes.
drained, and never have to take on anyone else's or the world's stuff.
That
And
has been a
that,
huge
ooh,
healing for me
yeah,
in this practice. I used to be, very affected by everyone in my world and it just became so much.
yeah.
And
I mean, it's going to toss you around, right?
mhm.
And you will feel constantly off kilter,
Yeah.
right? Off balance. And the more that you are in that state, the more you attract more of that. And it becomes harder for you to attract the jobs, the relationships,
Mhm.
situations that really you should be aligning with and
Yeah, because you
desire.
become you're still kind of a magnet because of the loving energy that you put out, but like it used to feel like I can't just like this dark sticky stuff that would like just weigh me down. And then
Yeah.
in my own practice and my own learning and all that I've learned just being surrounded by such amazing people, like all of that just sort of dissolved and now I'm much more grounded and in my own essence.
Honestly, in the years that I've known you, I see this growth and
I'm sure you
progression.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome.
You can hear it
And
in
the
my voice even. And
Oh, yes, yes,
we
your
can
self-confidence, your,
Mhm.
much more living your higher purpose and your
Mhm.
intention, and all that, reflects in your growth and maturity. Because we are magnets either way,
Yes.
right? That's physics, right? The
Yep.
law of attraction is physics. So what do you choose,
Right.
right? And it is always a choice, and it's a process of remembering.
And
Yeah.
I've learned to, I mean, boundaries, but like love
Oh, I
boundaries are,
definitely wanna talk about boundaries. Will you let me talk about boundaries?
yeah, because boundaries became for me, I mean, it used to be something I really struggled with because I felt like I was abandoning people or that I wasn't fulfilling something for people, but I've learned that I have to take care of me and that boundaries are self-love, and you can do that in such a loving way that I'm so much better at saying no, um, and just yeah.
Which is saying yes to yourself.
Yes,
And,
yeah.
as you are, more filled up and taking
Mhm.
care of yourself and nurturing yourself, then when you choose to share, you're doing that from a healthy and loving
Yeah,
place so that that energy can flow through you.
yes.
So, and one of the most common questions that people ask me is, quote unquote, how do I protect myself from, right, all this negativity around
Right.
me, this negative work situation? First of all, I don't really use that word negative. To me, they're using it as a judgment term, right?
Mhm.
Energy just vibrates at different frequencies. Higher frequencies support our wellness and immune system, and we feel good, and we are more likely to attract more of that same vibrational energy in our life. Lower frequencies and vibrations drain our energy, right? They
Yep.
affect our wellness. And, yeah, and that's not the energy that we choose to be radiating. So lots of people, when they're asked that question about how do I quote unquote protect myself, answer it by, you put yourself in a bubble of whatever light,
Yep.
white light, pink light, rainbow light, dolphin light, unicorn light. And and I have a different response that has come to me through my work with Reiki. Reiki is total connecting, unconditional love. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So, first of all, as soon as you feel you have something or someone to protect yourself from, is that a love-based response or a
Nope.
fear-based response? Right, of course, it's fear, right? False evidence appearing real. We
Mhm.
choose living one vibrational energy, love.
Mhm.
And is that a unifying or connecting response, or is
No.
that a divisive response? Because we know that energy is real. You learn how to feel, see, sense, and know that energy in your Reiki 1 class, as real as your physical body. So you are creating some kind of energetic bubble or boundary around yourself. It's real. It's creating division.
Yep.
So, what we do with Reiki is by doing our Reiki aerobics, our daily work, we practice and we learn how to build and radiate our light so that people can feel that. And we
Mhm.
learn to make it bigger and brighter all the time so it can go farther and farther, right? And light is always more powerful than anything less than light. So when you enter the world with that energy, right, anything less than light will either be healed by
Mhm.
your light or will go away.
Fall away.
It
Yeah.
won't fit for you vibrationally,
Mhm.
right? And so you, rather than putting up any kind of barrier or defensiveness, you become more and more of a healing presence in the world.
Yeah. I
And
remember when that shifted for me. That feeling of like that I needed to protect myself, and it kind of came in intuitively. It was like I don't have anything to protect myself from.
exactly.
And that felt very empowering. And I was no longer, because when you're doing Reiki or even when you're just with someone in general, like we are exchanging energy, right? And so
Mhm.
I would think about like, because my logic brain was like, well, am I exchanging that? Like, am I taking on their negative? But then it was just kind of like it came in like it's a truth. Like, no, it just falls away. Just
Right.
like when you shine light on shadow, shadow runs away,
Mhm.
you know?
And, I do wanna make it clear that it's not Reiki is a total path of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you don't acknowledge or allow any emotion.
Yep.
You're very real with yourself, right? And you try as best as humanly possible, because we're definitely having a very human experience, to just lost my train of thought there. Yeah, to deal with these emotions
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy and loving way,
Yes. Yes.
right? A balanced way. And then we choose to come back to our place of peace, that
Yes.
place that we rate, so that we can continue to be a healing presence for others. That is
Mm-hmm.
the only way we can.
Yes.
And literally, when we're in a challenging situation, and I have been through this myself from what I've shared and some other things, it's a moment by moment, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, catching yourself and bringing yourself back by slow. Just keep bringing yourself back to the place of peace and calm. In this tiny little moment, all is well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the bigger knowing that you're not going to get stuck there, right? You will make it through this. Or when you're in the midst of that challenging time, right? When you get to the other side of it, as you will, eventually you'll be able to see how this led to this, led to
Mm-hmm.
this, and all the strengths you've gained and the lessons that you've learned that maybe you wouldn't have any other way.
Yes.
And other people will be subconsciously attracted to you for having worked through this in a healthy way, because you will be able to be the empathetic healer,
Yes.
not just sympathize. You know what that's like.
I feel like that's my path. And I feel like in the last couple of years, all the work that I've done on, we'll call it shadow work, but it's just really just embracing the wholeness of who I am,
Right,
you know?
right. And the more comfortable with who you are in the world, the more
Hmm.
comfortable everyone else is,
Yeah.
right? And the same thing, with Reiki. Reiki is so natural to me. It just not Reiki in Reiki space. I'm Reiki everywhere,
Right.
right? And so when it's so natural for you, it becomes easier for it to become more natural for someone else,
Yeah.
right? But when you're trying to, well, I can't, be this way at work or in certain atmospheres, and you're trying to, container your life like that, same, the same. That's not being in integrity.
Yes.
One cannot be unseen, right? This is who you are always, right? And
Yes.
everywhere. This is how you choose to be and live in the world, conscious of your energy and how you're, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me today. Um,
Gosh,
I just love and appreciate you so much. And you have, in my world, I mean, I just, and I appreciate that you have seen my journey unfold so you can see the
absolutely.
difference.
Absolutely.
But it's just been life changing and I just appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes. You
And
know,
you are a beautiful example of integrity. And I just really grateful for that.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. It feels good to be seen also.
Well, all right. Anybody who is interested in purchasing, um, just go on Amazon or you can buy it
Called
locally. Yep.
Radiating Our Reiki Light. So if that's what you'll search, it'll pop up, and it's Reiki healing through real stories from clients,
Hmm.
students, practitioners, and teachers.
And
So
I
yeah,
highly encourage anyone who is curious about Reiki to just start somewhere, whether it's reading the book or getting a session, because it's just something that is natural to all of us, and it's a very and I love that science is catching up with all of this and it has been. So that, for me being like sort of split brained, like I really love empirical data and I love science and I appreciate it, and then there's this very spiritual side that you can't ignore about all of this and our connectedness. So,
And it's pretty much all the same.
yes.
Right.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Michelle, so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me for this episode of All the Things.